Throughout the year-long experience that I've gone through with this channel, one thing has remained the same. I love books. I love reading books. I love writing books. And in particular, the process of it all truly changed my life for the better. Now, yes, I may sound a bit sick from my voice, but even with that being the case, I've recently experienced a wave of writing that I've never seen in my entire life. In this video, I want to document that experience and what I've learned about writing stories and how to personally write your own book. Hello, if you don't know me, my name is Arnel Arcega. I'm one of the healthiest authors and writers on this platform. As such, I educate people on how to read and write, but also make sure people stay on the self-improvement habits that I've personally done. If you want personal help, then check out my Instagram down the link in the description, as well as my books down there as well. For now, let's get into the process of books and why this matters, especially in modern society. When we come up with writing a story, it's often set aside as this side hustle or this side piece that we don't think about. In truth, I want you to consider this. Don't think about it. Absolutely do not think about writing a story. You are going to write a story by the end of this video. Maybe not one you will finish, but it will be one that will get you starting the ironworks. Whether that's fictional or non-fictional, stories, books, or whatever medium you call it, still applies to the same metric. That metric is finishing a project from start to finish with a full idea in mind. Many generations ago, our ancestors would tell stories to one another to pass the time. These stories would eventually lead to them writing their own literature, and thereafter they would tell stories upon stories that last for generations. It's why we see many fictional stories like The Lord of the Rings persist, and other stories in both fiction and non-fiction continue to drive everything we do. So when we think about that, why should we not think about writing? Well, in the shortest term possible, all these people who've written a book here did not think about it. They wrote the story because of the fact that they felt like it. And to be perfectly honest, that's the best way I want you to approach this agenda. To be able to write a story is one thing, but to be able to mentally shift your mind forward and to say, yes, this is what I'm writing, is what puts you ahead of the game. I know many people who thought about writing a story, but when they thought about it, they never finished it. In truth, you need to know what story you are going to write. You need to know what kind of book you are going to tell. And to be able to sell that idea, I'm telling you, you need to not think about it. I drove home this point across because I know for a fact that many of you see the title, but don't understand why it's a full guide. We need to put the mental level on it first. We have to build the foundation. Make sure you know what kind of story you are going to tell. And if not, then this is where you could get started. Grab a pen and paper and start writing your idea somewhere. It could be something as small as your own life. Remember, take into account every kind of story you have read. I assume you are the type of person who has read many books in your time. You probably haven't caught up in these areas, but you've read enough to the point where you want to tell your own fictional or non-fictional story. And if that's the case, then go for it. Use that information to start building a plan. The plan we're looking at here is the easiest way of examining a story. The best way to tell a book is to understand a problem. What problem do you want to solve with the solution of a story? All these books here are written for the sake of both entertainment but also learning. There is something that you can grasp on in cases like Jurassic Park or Talk to Me. Something about these stories allow us to gain knowledge of the world. Atomic Habits is mostly a self-help book, but with its nonfiction story elements, we use that to the best of our ability. And that same case applies with every book you are going to write. Even if it's just one book, getting that experience is something very little people do. Now, publishing is a point I'll get into later, but in the case of writing, you need to get to that point A to point B. How do we do that? With a plan. The plan is to figure out your problem. Think about the problems around the world. What do you want to solve with this book? Do you want to solve climate change? Do you want to solve mental health issues? Do you want to solve music problems, how it could be anything. And that's the beauty of books. You could be as creative as possible in telling any and all kinds of stories. Thereafter, you can tell anything. Once you get your idea down, whether jotted down on a piece of paper or mentally in your head, the next thing we need to do is go even deeper with the plan. And the best way I look at this is the save the cat structure. This is one of my all-time favorite structures, but in the shortest way possible. It's the entire story progression. We have a story of a cat being saved and multiple routes you can take. Mostly this is split into the 3-act structure, which can begin from a beginning, middle, and end. If you want more research into this, then you can check out this awesome Grayson Taylor video, which I'll put in the description. But for now, know that Save the Cat is one of the best ways to build your structure. It's all about understanding how far you can come along in a story and how you can use that to the best of your ability. I personally use Save the Cat since my second and third novels, and these were great elements to build on what kind of story you are going to tell. Once again, you can be creative with this however you like. I would personally either jot this down on a piece of paper or write this all in a Google Doc. And to use that, you would probably have to examine your story in a much deeper lens. This isn't a school assignment. This is your own personal endeavor. But if you are willing to spend several months to maybe even a year at most writing the story, then I want you to be dedicated on it. Build the craft around it and surround the story in a manner that you often wouldn't think about. Now, coming from an author like me, you probably have to ask, what makes you credible for this? What makes you credible to tell how to write a book, and why should I trust you? I've tried, and my 3 manuscripts that I've gotten done, I am proud of. To say the least, I've made a lot of progress this year. Looking at my writing, it wasn't perfect at the start of the year, but over time, I progressively grew. It wasn't by adding more words or making myself sound smarter. It's all about getting better. And to get better, you have to build a routine. Once you figure out your plan for how you're going to approach this story, whether that's in like a 3-act structure, Save the Cat, or whatever kind of structure you want to use, for fictional and non-fictional books, this applies. You have to build a routine. The habits you do are what fuels our mind. Our creative mind puts us forward. Thinking back to earlier this week, one of my favorite writing prompts was about just writing as long as possible. I spent a good 3 hours editing my 3rd novel, and while it was mostly editing, that same case applies into creating words on its own. You can add scenes, you can build on different ideas. What I want you to understand is, with your routine, it should have an easy, set place to go in. I don't want writing to be this difficult, hard thing for you. It is truly purposeful for me and changed my life for the better. That said, I've also understood that to build on this routine, you have to know what good habits you do. In my experience, the best habits that I've done that built upon my writing were sleep, exercise, and getting sunlight. Obviously, there is the writing aspect, and I would highly suggest just positioning yourself alone in a room. You do not need other people for this. This is a challenge for you. But for everything else, I would still suggest doing those things. Sleep gives you more brain energy to write stronger and more convoluted ideas, while exercising and getting sunlight allows you to take breaks from the writing. It's important to find this distinction because when we consider how we live our lives every single day, we should know the best of our ability. We shouldn't have disadvantages like scrolling on our phone or checking whoever's texting us at the moment, because of the fact that we know we have something to write about. And using something like this as my journal, it's been a great way to not only plan my next coming books, but also use it to build on my current stories. The reason why we all want to write a book is for several reasons. Some of it for money, some of it for the experience, and others just because they want to write. In my own life, I found writing a book challenging. I wanted to challenge myself after writing several scripts and improving my storytelling capabilities. And I assure you, you probably have the same case that I do. You have something greater than yourself, and you are ready to tell the world what you have in store. And when we consider that, The benefits of writing come so extreme that it changes our lives in more ways than one. Not only will we profit if we go on to publish, whether that's through official publishers or self-publishing, whatever the case is, you still get the same relief when you are done writing. I remember finishing my third novel, The Winning Complex. It's one of the few books that's not in the link in the description, as I'm still editing it. But when I finished writing that a couple weeks ago, I've never felt so much joy in my life. To be able to sit down with what I've written and to say, I've written one of the best stories I've ever read, is truly a remarkable experience. And when we consider the benefits of what we get out of writing a book, there are so many out there, so many different layers and different things on top of it, that you have to slow down and ask yourself why you're doing this craft in the first place. I know I may have been just giving advice for most of this video, but I'm truly telling this from the bottom of my heart. Writing books is one of the most legendary things I've ever done. It may sound cringy to say, but I truly love doing this. And I love making videos about writing because I know for a fact that we need more people to read. There will be an eventual spike in the future for more books. We want more literature to some extent. And this growing crowd that I'm building here, I'm telling you, this will change the world. Books may be small, but like tape or even just some things we don't often consider, it is the foundation of our success. And if you want that success, then I highly suggest start writing. I hope you enjoyed today's video. While small as a full guide, it is something that I wanted to keep straight and forward. I want to get to the points as much as possible. So going over what we talked about today, consider this. Remember to think about the problem and solution you want to write. Understand that the plot is the biggest thing in your book, and you should plan that out using structures like Save the Cat or the 3-act structure. From there, you should build a routine over and over again every single day as much as possible. And finally, don't think about it. Simply do the work and understand that the results that come with it are stronger than anything you will ever see in your entire life. I'm Arnel Arcega, and I hope I can personally help you in the future, whether that's through my Instagram down in the link in the description or my books down there as well. Until next time, however, keep on reading, keep on writing, and take care.